Well, welcome back, y'all. Thanks for coming back, and please leave a thumbs up if you like this episode. Leave some comments below also. This episode is going to be about adapting and how we adapt to our environments. The theory of evolution. The theory of evolution is going to give you an idea of what adapting is. This man, Charles Darwin, went into the Galapagos Islands and witnessed birds who changed their beaks to represent food that they were eating. When one food source ended, they had to adapt their beaks to another food source to survive. Adapting in humans is a little bit different. Adapting for us is creating an environment. You see it throughout the world. If adapting or the theory of evolution was correct, we would have dramatic changes in human evolution. We would see people who live in cold environments have more hair. We would see people in humid climate have less. Adapting to an environment is sustaining life. Humans adapting to their environment is almost like saying that if you don't survive, then you didn't adapt. Well, that's, in my view, not the case. My case in adapting to an environment is plainly survival. If you know how to survive, then you're going to thrive. When someone's living up in a cold atmosphere, they provide shelter for them. They provide enough shelter to regulate their temperature, to keep heat. I don't call that adapting. When we're living in a world of change, where change is dramatic, adapting to a new lifestyle is not necessarily necessary. If we were born to adapt, we would become the most efficient people in the world. We wouldn't have any aspect of our being to be hindered by our environment, in which our environment hardly changes. When we go from adapting to surviving, we don't need to adapt. And let me ask you this. Do we want to really adapt to the changes in our world, or do we want to create the world we want? Because no offense to the oil industry or to the coal industry, the pollution that we have in this world and that are emitted from our plant is something that the body shouldn't adapt to. And we see it with the increase in cancers. If adapting was so prevalent in our life, then why not keep the lead in our water supply? We should just adapt to it, right? And that's my strongest point right there, is that adapting to something doesn't necessarily mean that you're growing. It just means that you're tolerating something. You're tolerating a part of the world where you don't want to dismiss it from life. One major aspect of adapting today is electronics. We have to adapt to a lifestyle of necessity on electronic. Well, that growth going into a necessity is changing our whole aspect on life. It's changing the way that we interact. It's changing the way that we survive. In today's world, survival depends on you. It depends on what you want to survive in, what you want to allow to be changed in your life. There's plenty of people out there that are not adapted to electronic, yet they are still surviving. So your choice is, are you going to adapt, or are you going to strengthen what you think is the best this life has to offer? Thank you so much for watching this episode and listening to all the works. If you're new to this channel, I'd like to give you a little bit of heads up on what this channel is all about. All the pictures that you see were taken by me. All the words that you hear are written or said by me. The sounds and music that you hear are made by me. And I have a Kickstarter project right now where you can own 3 years of my creation for $50. A one-time purchase of $50. So I hope to see you in the next episode, and thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to this channel, leave a comment below, and click that thumbs up button. Whoa, did you catch all that? Did you understand all that? Some of y'all might be thinking that, yes, there is dramatic changes in human evolution. But I want to ask you one thing. If somebody who lived in the north, who lived where heat was needed so much, do you think that that person would be a little bit darker to absorb more heat than a person who actually lives up there? Evolution, in my mind, is not the change to survive in an environment. Evolution is the change because of the environment. This is one thing that this series is trying to do, is it's trying to show you how much you're being influenced on and what you're actually retaining from it. There's so much going on in the electronics world, and so many things are getting influenced by today's world, that distinguishing each one individually shows that we have a lot to learn. Each one of these pictures you could sit and look at for hours. You could tell a story by each one of these pictures. The basis to adapting, to the theory of evolution, is that the people who learn and the people who implement their learning for a better life are the ones who survive. You can choose to do so many different things, yet you really have to think and learn which ones are the most beneficial. If you're not using what you have in life to learn, you're not going to thrive. From day one of man being created on this world, we have learned and used what we have learned for the next generation, for the betterment of the next generation. What the environment has changed in you will be something that's easier for the next generation to tolerate.